Hello, bro.
Good, man.
Good.
Yeah, not too bad.
Fucking December.
December, we're almost there. The race is almost over. I
Yeah.
see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I cannot wait for the break.
Is it shining bright or what?
Very bright. What about yourself?
Crazy year. Yeah, good, man. Much quieter with the gyms at the moment, December. Everyone's partying. Looking forward to, their Christmas parties and whatnot. But it's been a good year overall. So, yeah, just time to unwind and relax, really. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot going on in the world
Heaps.
at the moment.
But let's talk about the economy.
Let's talk about the economy, where it's at.
Yeah.
It looks like, we had the RBA decision last week
Yeah.
to keep rates exactly where they were.
Yep.
And that was because inflation was coming back. Well, it looks like it. And the particular driver to inflation at the moment is electricity prices. So the Labor government got into power this year and they introduced the energy rebates. And because they introduced the energy rebates, energy was sort of taken out of the mix when it came for inflation, or sort of taken out of the data. Now those energy rebates have disappeared.
I saw that on the news the other day.
So because of that, electricity has jumped up by 38%, and that's sort of dragging inflation higher generally.
Right.
So a lot of people now are getting scared because a lot of people thought that, hey, if I can afford my mortgage today, and if I buy a property today and pay an exorbitant amount, it's going to get cheaper for me in the next 3 to 6 months. And at the moment, it's not looking like that way.
Yeah. That's why it's so important not to make that assumption, hey, yeah.
Well, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Yeah. So, what do you reckon? We see rises next year? That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I think things are still going to continue to get expensive, like in the sense of, well, like groceries and all the cost of goods are going up. Fuel is going down, so Trump's pushing the reduction of oil prices and all that across the world, which is coming through, and that will definitely come through in the data eventually, because whether we like it or not, oil is part of everything. Transportation, the cost of goods to get stuff from A to B and all that.
Yeah.
So it's going to have a negative impact on inflation because it should theoretically get cheaper over the next few months. But you've also got all the other costs going up, like wages.
Yeah.
Wages, rents, and the rest of it.
Everything's going up.
Everything's going up. So the RBA is trying to constrain demand by putting rates higher. And when they put rates higher, things are supposed to slow down.
Yeah. What about house prices? What do you reckon? Next year, 2026, down?
Well, this one I think is going to be a tough one. It's going to all determine or be determined by what the government does with migration. It's going to be a tough one because on one side we need the labour to come in to do all the jobs, but on the other side we haven't got the infrastructure, we haven't got the schools, we haven't got the houses to actually fit all these people in, and this is why we are in the mess that we are.
Yeah. I wonder if AI has its place in that.
I think AI is coming, and if you're not using AI, if you're not getting well versed with it and known with it, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah.
Because it's coming, it's here, and it's going to get even better than what it is.
Yeah.
But I think before that actually gets into workplaces and into people's jobs, it's still going to take a bit of time.
Yeah. It's my best friend.
It's my best friend too. I love
I
it.
use it for everything.
I've got it everywhere on all my devices. Everything's connected, and it does make life a lot easier if you know how to use it.
Absolutely. It definitely does. I've started using it for was using it for a lot of social media posts, especially for the businesses. Just makes life. Yeah.
It gives you ideas.
Yeah.
And then from those ideas you build.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think in terms of where house prices are going to go, I think of course the events that happened on the weekend as well are going to no doubt impact migration policy as well. The government's going to start to look at this really closely next year, and then they'll make a decision on how many people they let in, from where, and the rest of it, and that could impact house prices for sure.
Yeah. Well, because Steph and I were actually thinking of whether we wanted to rent again or buy, but I think we're going to stick with renting one more year.
Well, even
see what happens.
even buying, it's like, well, unless you have a chunky deposit,
Yeah.
a big one, it actually is cheaper to rent.
Yeah.
I say this to people.
That's what we figured out.
And they're like, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about.
It's dead money.
It's dead money. But if you're buying a property for, say, 1.5 mil, you know, and say you have $500,000 with the stamp duty and all that, and you're borrowing about $1 million. Just alone, the interest is about 60 grand per year, right? Which is about $1,100 or $1,200 a week. So if the rent that you're going to be paying is less than that, then theoretically you're going to be better off, and you're not going to have the big debt over your head as well, and you can easily move and the rest of it.
Yeah.
You know, and this is where people get caught up because they're like, well, but it's going to go up in value. But it's like, yeah, it did go up in value, but you're not paying, like you're paying probably 80 grand per year for that property instead of paying maybe 40 grand a year in rent.
Yeah.
You know, so this is the whole push-pull. Like it was a bit different when property prices were like, you know, 300, 400,000, you know, but now when you're talking like...
They matched wages.
And they matched wages, and, you know, one person working could afford it for the family. Now it's changed. Like when you're borrowing 1.5 million, sometimes it does make more sense just to rent in the place that you want to live.
Well, it has for us, and especially like, I feel like buying a house is such a big decision because you're then living in that area as well for however long until you sell it. So the one thing we've really liked about renting is figuring out which areas we really like, but then also just having a life. Like, you know, being able to go out for a dinner, go on a holiday to Europe for a bit. You can't do that stuff as much when you've got that mortgage, hey? Like,
well, you tell me, if you're going to have a $6,000 or $8,000 a month mortgage, how much do you need to earn as a couple or as a single person
to be able to
just afford to live there?
Yeah.
And that doesn't include the rest of it. You got the rates, you got the insurance, you know, stuff goes wrong, interest rates go up, you know, or go down, or whatever happens. So it's like, if you're tying, you know, 60% of your income after tax to a property, yeah, you're going to be living in the area you want to live, but you're not going to go outside your house.
Yeah.
Like you won't be doing European holidays or summer holidays or going down, you know, down to the coast for summer, like, because the cash is going to be tight unless you're earning ridiculous money.
Yeah. What's your advice for people now that aren't in the market, such as myself, and looking to probably get into the market over the next few years? Like, what would you say to them?
So, you know, some people, like, I read a lot of things and watch a lot of things, and people are saying, well, go into an apartment. You know, I don't like apartments to buy because there's a lot of risk as well with that. You have a strata committee that controls the expenses. You've got buildings now that are not that great as well. And if you buy an older apartment, you still need to do a lot of refurbishments, so there's a lot of capex that needs to happen. So I generally don't like apartments. Yeah. I bought one apartment in my lifetime. I made good money on it just because of the timing. But I look back at it now and in the same complex, and we're talking 10 years later, that apartment's gone back 20% in purchase price. And it's like they've lost money from that point in time because there was a peak in 2016, 2017. Yeah. But yeah, so apartments are one thing. You can go into townhouses as well. Yeah. But I like, you know, land. That's where you make your money. Yeah. You don't make your money, like, unless your apartment's looking at the water at Bondi Beach, you're probably not going to make money if it's in the suburbs because they can put apartments anywhere. They'll just build them next to a station, and you know. So I think buying house and land probably further out, you know, and that's not ideal maybe for people because they don't want to live there, but it's a good stepping stone to get into the market. Yeah, for sure. And I think, like, because obviously working with a lot of people in gyms, what I see a lot of when people do buy their property is they actually work in jobs they're not very happy with as well. And so if you think about it, like if you're working in a job that you're not really happy with, yeah, it gives you decent money. Once you're locked into that mortgage, you're done. Well, you don't have any room to make decisions on your career anymore. No. And so that's why, like, I feel like it's really important to actually build a life that you love first before buying a property, because you've got to take risks in that. And also in saying that, it's like a particular suburb wasn't what it was 20 years ago. Nah. You know, and as long as, like, I also come from the belief where if you haven't got a big mortgage and you haven't got stress, your life is going to be
100%.
better anyway.
I'm pretty happy.
You know, exactly. Like, what does it matter if I live in Bondi or in Edgewood?
It doesn't.
Or in Blacktown or in Penrith? It doesn't matter, right?
No.
But you know, I think there's a lot of people out there that have massive mortgages and, like you said, are in the rat race, who cannot make decisions and they're
Just grinding.
They're just grinding, you know. And it's like, yeah, but I'm going to own my property at the end of it. But it's like, yeah, you're going to be 65, 70. When is the time to enjoy, you know?
Yeah, and you see it so much, you know, people work crazy hours, you know, 50, 60, 70-hour weeks to pay their mortgage, and then they get to that 65, 70 years old, and then they're sick.
Yeah, and it comes
And
quick.
they're sick.
It comes quick, you know, like this year's over.
Yeah.
Like it flew. I remember speaking to you at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
You came here at the office, and like now we're 1 week away from Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's like it goes fast.
It goes fast.
It goes slow, but it goes fast at the same time as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but then you've also got property is one thing. That's a safer type of investment because bricks and mortar. You know, there's a population squeeze at the moment as well. But you've got other assets. You know, you've got cryptos, which I know you love. So let's dig into that. So cryptos are one of those things where I see it. You know, I sort of understand what they're trying to do in terms of the technology and you know, there was a problem with the current system with the government printing a lot of money. So now there's like a decentralized system that's not run by governments. I get all of that. But I still see it as a very infant stage at the moment. So, and of course, Bitcoin is the main one, which has gone up and down like crazy. If you bought in 2010,
Massive.
you know, you'd be a billionaire now, right? But who knew? Or some people did. But there's also others, right? Tell me which one you're in.
Well, I'm in XRP and a few others recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so XRP is the main one, but I'm also in XLM,
Excellent. Okay.
XDC, HBAR.
Okay.
Yeah.
New additions to XRP.
Yeah, so after doing my thorough research, they're all going to be integrated into the ledger, the XRPL,
Okay.
which is Ripple's infrastructure for global payments.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the reason I've gone so hard on XRP in particular is just because of the way I'm seeing the world move. And I'm not saying to anyone watching this to invest in XRP, do your own research and all that sort of stuff. But I believe that we are heading into a digital asset world, a tokenized world, where we'll see digital currencies, so CBDCs, digital ID, all that sort of stuff. And I think that, or I believe that XRP is going to be the new infrastructure for payments across the world.
And Bitcoin will be obsolete?
I don't think it'll be obsolete. I think it'll have its place. But I don't think it's going to be, you know, what it is now. Okay. I don't think it's going to be the number one asset or the number one crypto.
Because I think Bitcoin originally was seen to be against the system.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be like, well, I'm not going to use the US dollar or the Aussie dollar or whatever. I'm going to use this Bitcoin ledger.
Yeah.
But as I see it more and more, it's actually exactly like the current system anyway. You know, because now it's gone into a market.
Yeah.
If you look on the New York Stock Exchange, into all the crypto asset, like in all the Bitcoin stuff, it's just another market that goes up and down. And it's actually causing, like it was meant for the poorer people to have access to a system that not only the rich people do, but now it's just a speculative asset, I think.
Yeah.
Because like everyone's just wanting Bitcoin to go higher. So how can people in, say, countries that are not so well off actually get into Bitcoin?
Yeah.
They can't.
Yeah.
So it's actually defeating the purpose that it was intended to do, I thought.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Bitcoin is, from what I understand, it's like a popular thing, right? It increases in value when people are invested into it, and it has its rotations and all that sort of stuff. It doesn't actually have real world utility as much as what XRP does and a few other cryptos that I've invested in. So I think that's the number one thing that you need to look at, is that like things like Bitcoin, cryptos like Bitcoin, they can be volatile, really volatile. XRP has been volatile, but it's been on a steady upward trend since it started, and it hasn't dipped as much as what other cryptos have.
But if it's supposed to be a real world utility, even if, because XRP is cheap at the moment
Yeah.
in comparison to BTC, right?
Yeah.
So what happens when XRP goes up in value so much that people can't afford to actually get into it? Then it actually defeats the purpose of what it was intended to do, like Bitcoin, right?
Well, what I believe is that it's going to be a global reserve currency.
Okay.
So it's just been named a commodity, and Ripple's just been approved for a banking license. So I think what it will be is a reserve currency which will have its stablecoin, RLUSD, which will be used on the ledger.
Okay.
Make sense?
Oh, look, I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
You know, I think what the Trump administration is trying to do is to build these stable coins to roll in all the US debt into it, and somehow, I don't know what they're doing, but I think that's sort of what I'm feeling that they're doing.
Yeah.
Because they've got a debt situation that's out of control, and they're like, well, how can we tap into the market to get people to buy US debt?
Yeah.
I think that they're going to do it by stable coins, whether that's XRP or whatever they come up with.
Yeah.
But I just see it as a risk as well. Like,
Of course.
Why wouldn't the Trump administration or the US government do a coin or a token or whatever it is?
Because it's too obvious.
Yeah. But sometimes the most obvious things are the things that.
Well, this is extremely obvious, right? But what I mean is, for them to make their own coin, like it's just like, well, everyone would just buy it, right? Because they'll just be like, it's going to go bonkers. Whereas XRP is a separate company that isn't owned by the Trump administration. However, it is owned by an American company. So, you know, and you look at where Brad Garlinghouse has been in Trump's administration, he's been sitting right next to him the whole time, you know? So, look, I could be wrong. You can always be wrong. It's always a risk.
It's always a risk.
It's always a risk. But my view entirely on crypto is you can't get the returns that you can get on crypto in your bank account.
Yeah, we
Right.
definitely know that. Yeah. Well,
You just can't. Like you get what, 3% a year on your savings,
Yeah.
taxed. But if you look at XRP since its incarnation, when it started, it's gone up 400%.
well, I suppose they have to get the banking cartel
Yeah.
in on it. So
Yeah.
it does make sense that there's got to be something.
But also look at all the laws that, you know, Australian government, the American government and all that are bringing in on tax for crypto, like CGT and all that sort of stuff. Why now?
Look, and that's where, you know, the utility of cryptocurrencies, you know, it was supposed to be against the system. That's what
Yeah.
I see it. It's like it's supposed to be against the system, so the banks couldn't see, so people couldn't see, and there's been
Yeah.
a lot of dodgy stuff happening with international criminals and all this sort of stuff with cryptos. But the moment that the government sees that, they're going to try and plug it.
100%.
They try and plug it, and as soon as they plug it, they're going to tax it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's where, you know, like I have people come to me with crypto returns, and you know, they're like, they've got so many transactions, and they're like, the government's not going to find me, but they know.
Oh yeah,
You know?
they know. And the thing is that that's what I believe that they're moving towards with tokenization, is that it's going to become traceable, extremely traceable,
For sure.
and really fast. So if you think about, you know, the implementation of digital ID and CBDCs, the government want to know where we're spending our money and how often and where we are a lot of the time. That's the world that we're moving towards.
But they sort of already know via third-party companies like Facebook, Instagram, but it's just more bringing that into the government's.
But it's instant.
It's instant,
It's
yeah.
going to be instant, you know. So as soon as you go to the shops and you purchase something, bang, instant through the ID, through the tokenization of your assets,
Well, it's going to be more control.
more controlled.
You know?
When you can spend, when you can't spend. Social credit score. We won't get into that part.
That's for the next episode.
Next episode.
But-
But yeah, look, it's an interesting topic because I feel like a lot of people are afraid to invest in these things because there is a lot of fear around it, you know. But that's why you always have to look into things further, like do your own research, understand the utility of an asset and whether it's going to have a place in the world over the next 20, 30, 40 years. You know?
Well, I suppose that's why property is so stable.
Correct.
Because people have to live somewhere.
Exactly.
And this is why the property markets are still very elevated, you know. I think a lot of people with property as well, they made their money because of the COVID crunch.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of money printing and prices went up ridiculously. Like if you had property any time before, say, 2021, you basically sorted now.
Yeah.
You know, but I think there's also a false level of expectation as well that those increases are going to continue. You know, so
yeah.
I have people, you know, that speak to me and they're like, well, I want to buy this property because this buyer's agent is recommending this area, and he's saying to me it's going to be a 15% year-on-year growth, and it's like, maybe possible, 100%. But in saying that, if things continue the way that they are, you know, and there's no changes to the cash rate, it's going to be very hard for something to grow at 15%. You know,
yeah.
And all those hotspots and all those picks and all that, AI is doing all of that stuff. You know, so you've got like all these apps using AI, so it's not even a person now who's trying to find a suburb. It's more so, well, you've got AI who looks at incomes and you know, the demographics of people working, location to infrastructure and all the rest of it, and goes, hey, these are the suburbs. And then everybody just follows. Which is exactly what happens in the stock market. You know, it's just in the stock market, it happens in milliseconds or in seconds. You can buy and sell a CBA share now. Whereas if you buy a property and sell it, the whole process is 6 weeks, 8 weeks by the time you get the real estate agent involved, by the time the sale happens, you find someone, the settlement. So this is where, you know, property is a good safe investment, I think. But in saying that, if you want to get into something very quick, this is where your cryptos, this is where your shares come in, your equities.
Yeah, and you've got to be willing to lose the money, right? Like in crypto. Like you like I said, it's a risk. And if you know, go all in on something and you know, you end up losing it, well then that's your own fault. Like, you know, dumb decision. But if you've got, you know, some spare change around where you can put 5 or 10 grand into something, and if you lose it, you're not really worried about it, that's probably the best mindset to have, because the charts change so much. And if you're always looking at, you know, how much it's gone up and down, you would never make it in that game, because like looking at it now, look what's happened overnight. You know, it was all-time highs, I think in June, I think it was trading at around almost $4 Aussie, and now it's down to like $2.20.
Oh, you have to have,
you know, over the last 6 months it's gone down, right? But had I not known its utility and looked into it and been aware of what's actually building underneath, I probably would have sold ages ago. And I firmly believe that we're heading into a huge bull market right now, whereas a lot of people are thinking, nah, it's not going to happen, you know?
Well, specifically for XRP or just the market in general?
The market in general. Yeah, I think we're heading into a massive bull market. You know, look at the last however many bull markets there've been, even in stocks. What happens before?
Oh, look, you know, all the pundits are saying that there's going to be a melt up, you know, but I'm a firm believer that the market does the opposite of whatever anybody thinks. So the market's saying, people are saying, if you go into YouTube, they're all saying it's melt up, it's coming.
Not now. It's changed.
It's changed, I think, in the last few days, especially.
Yeah, it's changed. A lot of over the last couple of weeks, a lot of the sentiment's been it's not happening. It's 2026. It's going to happen in 2026. But this whole year, since June, when it hit its all-time highs, people have been saying it's going to go higher. It's going to go higher over 6 months. November, after the Fed rate cuts, it's going to go up. It's going to go up. No. It's all psychology, right?
Yeah.
So now it's changed to 2026, which makes me believe even more that it's going to happen before 2026. So we've got how many days? 15 days.
15 days. Well, usually this time of year they call it the Santa Claus rally, which happens, you know, for the last so many years it's happened where markets just take off the last week before everyone sort of goes on leave.
Yeah.
But could this year be different? You know, like you never know.
No.
You know,
it's not going to be different.
Like and like last week, the RBA held.
Yeah.
The Fed in the US cut. So, you know, so something's going on in the US, I think as well, because for the Fed to cut while all this investment is coming in, of course, you've got the whole tariff thing. But the tariff thing, I don't think is a big issue because the tariff thing is a one-off inflationary event. So if you buy something that's $100 and that's 110, it's going to be inflationary for that 1 year. But then after that, the tariff is not going to go up again. Like it will go up generally in price, the normal inflation, but the tariff is a one-off hit essentially.
Yeah.
So I think, obviously the stock market is peaking in America, which is obviously pulling up all our super funds and the Australian banks and everything else is sort of going up with it because the stock market is going up over there, but you've got unemployment going up. You've also got, unemployment going up, you've got less people working, essentially. You've got all these AI projects which look like they're slowing down because it's not happening as fast as they thought it's going to happen. So all of this put together is causing a bit of uncertainty in the US. And on top of that, you've got inflation also coming back in the US. So it's like the Fed is between a rock and a hard place. It's like, are they going to cut more to save unemployment or employment? But then if they do that, they're going to put inflation back. So what do they do?
Yeah. Be interesting to see.
I think it's going to play out all in probably the first 6 months of next year because in America, you've also got the midterm elections. Which happen in November. And of course, Trump will want to keep all of his donors and all his senators and House of Reps or whatever it is. He wants to keep all them happy so then they get re-elected in their districts as well. So I think, if there's anything that's going to happen, it's going to happen soon because it has to recover. If the markets are the worst since the GFC while those midterm elections happen, they're going to lose a lot of seats. And then Trump will be a dead duck in water.
When are the elections?
In November.
Next year.
So at the moment he's got the Senate, he's got the House of Reps, and he's got the presidency, so he can push things through. Law changes and legislation and all that. But if midterms happen and they lose that majority, then he's basically going to do nothing for 2 years until the next presidential election.
Do you think we see a recession?
I think it's going to be big. I think
next year?
I think like anything, it's like, say you have a big night, and you get on the alcohol and you get really drunk, you have a good time, you have a hangover.
It's a mad night. It's all ups.
It's all ups.
There's a massive down,
but then there's
especially when you're older.
Exactly. There's a massive down, and I think this whole debt binge that we've had is going to come to an end.
I think that's right. I think, like I said, we see a huge up through the end of this year, but early next year, it's not looking good.
So timings, no one can pick. It's going to be the smallest thing that just sparks a reaction in some market across the world, and then bang.
There's the carry trade in Japan,
which is blowing
That's
up.
got a massive effect on the economy, right? Because they owe the US something like $2 or $3 trillion. Is that right?
Just so the whole carry trade philosophy is like, well, big banks, countries go to Japan to borrow yen. And then they get that yen and convert it to US dollars because the yen is really cheap. But what's happening now is the yen is going up. The interest rates in Japan are going up. So it's costing, it's causing the yen to become more expensive, like in terms of that carry trade. And this is where now all the big guys, we're talking like billions and hundreds of billions and trillions of dollars. If there's a 25 basis point increase in the interest rate, it does cost a lot of money. So then that carry trade starts to unwind because people start paring back their positions. They start selling things because it's becoming more expensive to keep those yen. Essentially.
There's that Jake Claver guy. You've seen him before?
No.
Anyway, he talks about the carry trade in Japan unwinding, and it has a huge effect on the price of crypto as well.
Well, that's what's happening in the crypto markets today. It's because the Fed last week decided to cut rates. So what does that mean is, well, people now are moving money back to the US because they're like, well, the US dollar is now cheaper. And because of that, people are starting to turn risk off in terms of they want less riskier assets, and crypto is the most riskiest asset at the moment.
So they're pulling it out. Interesting.
And the same thing's happening like with the gold market, and with the gold market, the silver market is peaking. So it's like, well, if I want to be more risk averse, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know, if I've bought gold at 2,000 at the beginning of the year, now it's 4,000, maybe I'll take a bit of those profits now because this other investment over here with the yen is costing me more money.
Yeah.
So I'll sell this to take the profits to pay that. And that's what sort of happens on a global scale.
That's why the markets come down. Oil is another factor, isn't it? So if oil goes up, what role does that play in the markets?
Well, oil goes into everything.
Yeah.
You know, so this is the thing. It's like even if you're anti-oil, you know, if you're a climate change activist, you know, it's like, well, even the apples that you buy at Woolies are impacted by the oil price because they're going to get shipped there somehow. You know.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have to travel to work. You know, anything that you buy is impacted by oil. So this is where it does impact. I think Trump is making big deals with the Saudis at the moment, and this is why the oil price is suppressed. It's down. I think it's going to go lower, and obviously he's also making a play on Venezuela. So I think, his intention is to bring inflation down in the US, and the way he'll do that is with lower oil prices. And like it or not, it's in everything that we do. You know, so if he can get it down low enough, like I was having a look at a stat the other day, with the Biden administration, it was like $4 a gallon, you know, $3.50, $4. Now it's like $2, you know. So that's something that people feel every single week.
Yeah.
If it goes down,
You see it straight away.
you see it straight away. You're like, oh, well, you know, I know we don't do gallons here, we do litres, but it's like, well, instead of it costing me $90, it's costing me $50
Yeah.
or $60. You know, okay, you know, something's happening. You know, whether I like the current government or I don't, or the current administration or I don't, my fuel prices are cheaper.
Yeah.
You know, so it instantly impacts a large portion of the population.
Yeah. Interesting.
So
Yeah.
So I think, his oil price is going to stay where it is and go down, I think. Because if we have, like, oil at the moment is like $57 a barrel, US. If we have a recession, people move less. They need less stuff. So theoretically, oil should drop
Yeah.
because we need less oil to move stuff around and all that.
Yeah. 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 Cool. See what happens.
See what happens.
Big end to the year.
Yeah.
A lot can happen in the next couple of weeks, hey.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
You know, and especially with the crypto
That's-
markets, because they're 24
man.
hours.
The crypto markets, a day. Things change in a day. It's wild. Yeah. That's why you never over leverage yourself, man. Never.
Look, playing with margin is always risky business.
Yeah.
You know, like really risky business. And you saw, I think a few weeks ago, the crypto market just had a big pop.
There was one in September.
Or maybe it was.
It was September, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe it was October. It's one of those months. It was when Trump announced harsher tariffs
Okay. Yep.
on China. That sent crypto like hugely. I think XRP went from $2.30 down to $1.15
I remember.
in the space of. I was training at the gym.
Yep.
And I was just like having a look, you know. And I remember seeing Trump make the announcement and then flipping over to the exchanges, and I just saw it go boom.
Oh yeah.
But it was like 30 seconds.
Yep. It starts
And then
recovering.
bang, straight back up.
But people get stopped out. You know.
Oh yeah.
And there was like a lot of. I was watching on X that there was a lot of people that jumped. Basically.
Some people lost tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, like, and there was like you know, young 25-year-olds who've just got everything in crypto. You know, one guy I think lost like $500,000 and he committed suicide.
Yeah, there's a Ukrainian guy.
You know.
Yeah,
And it's like, look, it's at the end of the day, I get it. It's just money, but if you lose money like that, it does hurt.
Oh yeah, it definitely hurts. It hurts. Yeah, cool. What about wars? There's a few wars going on.
A few, yeah. Look, I think they're sort of starting to simmer a bit.
Yeah.
You know, I think, like especially the Ukraine one.
Yeah.
That one is, wouldn't say it's over, but it looks like things are heading in the right direction in terms of.
They've got the plan there, the 20-point plan or something like that they need to agree on, but I guess we'll see. And then there's Taiwan and China.
Taiwan, yeah.
That can cause issues.
Yeah, well, I think America and China, like, they're going to continue to punch it out.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to continue. Obviously, everyone wants to be number one. at the moment, the Americans are just there slightly. They're just there.
China's just behind.
China's just behind. So
Yeah.
it's like, who wants to dominate the world? Because who dominates the world will most likely dominate the currency as well. So that's what the Americans are fighting.
Yeah.
They're fighting to keep.
Do you think that's why they're moving? I think that's why they're moving towards crypto, because they see it as a way to stay dominant.
I think it's part of their plan.
Yeah.
It's definitely part of their plan because America thrives on tech and innovation. So they lead with these sort of things, and they're hoping that China won't keep up. And China's banned crypto as well. So it's like an industry that, well, it's probably still there, but it's not as favoured as it is in the US. So why would you set up whatever you're going to set up in China and get blocked out by the government? So I think I think it is a play, but I think the whole angle they're going down is they want to keep US dollar reserve currency status, and that's what they're fighting for. And look, if I was on the playground and I was the number one, I'd fight anyone. And that's what they're doing.
Yeah. I'm just checking now because I'm getting notifications left, right, and centre for the markets. XRP $1.89.
Is it?
Hold on tight, baby. All right. Cool. Good chat.
Good chat. We'll definitely do it again in the new year.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm a millionaire.
We'll see. All right. Catch ya.